Hey, what's up everybody? In today's video we're gonna paint up my favorite D&D creature of all time, Owlbear. Yes, I love owlbears. And one day I was in a hobby Discord asking around for the best owlbear miniature that people knew about. Dan replied and he showed me some different examples of owlbear STLs. I settled on this one and I was about to order the mini with a print-on-demand service. But Dan said, "You're not going to pay 20 euros for this, I'll print it for you." Which was obviously nice enough in itself, but then the package arrived. Okay, so I have something really cool here. Too excited, but I have to take off my jacket. So this is a print by... So, what does it say? It says, "Dear Smeerlap," which is like dirtbag, scumbag. Here is the promised owlbear plus a little something on the side. Okay, so the moment of truth. Ooh, I see it right there. Whoa, that's crazy. Look at the detail on that miniature. What the hell? This is so cool. Dan, you crazy bastard. Oh my god, look at that. Holy snap. What the f***, dude? Owlbear. There is the freaking owlbear. And apparently, we're not even done. Dan, bazere baas, thanks a lot. The wyvern and all the other minis will be part of another video, but for now, let's paint up the owlbear. I started with a coat of Chaos Black since I wanted to have some of the shadows in place. My idea was to use mostly contrast paints for this project, so I continued with a zenithal highlight of white through the airbrush. In hindsight, I primed it a bit too light. Nevertheless, I started painting the fur part of the model with Skeleton Horde contrast paint. The idea was to have his belly and inner side of his arms and legs a lighter color than the upper side, so I could cover pretty much the entire model with the contrast paint. After focusing on the fur, I picked out all the feathers. I treated them with a shade of Agrax Earthshade, putting most of the paint at the base of the feather and making it more transparent as I got towards the end. After that, with the first contrast paint still a bit wet, I mixed some Fireslayer Flesh contrast paints. It's a nice reddish brown skin tone that I use a lot for leather, wood and dwarf faces, obviously. This would be the main color for the fur and I think it mixes very well with the yellow of Skeleton Horde. At first I hated the yellow tone that Skeleton Horde gave me, but after working with some other shades of brown, it actually worked pretty well. I'm going back and forth between Skeleton Horde, Fireslayer Flesh and Agrax Earthshade. The owlbear got a nice wild look to it now. To add to this look, I started dry brushing the feathers and some part of the fur with white. Sometimes dry brushing will give you a bit of a washed out, dull look in the shades. If that's not what you want, go back to a dark shade color and fill in the recesses with it. Now for a very important part on the owlbear, the face. After shading the little face feathers and fur with Agrax Earthshade, I wanted to get a feel for how the eyes would look. For creature eyes, I often use contrast paints. When you let a drop of this fall onto the eyeball, the excess paint will find its way into the recesses around it, giving it a bit of a orange to yellow gradient in this example. And this is why I love bright contrast colors. They work very well for eyes and gemstones, for example. Without its eyeshadow though, the eyes would not look as menacing as I'd like. Owlbears often have a dark line around their eyes, gradually making its way onto its long eyebrows. So with a sharp brush tip, I directed some Mournfang brown from the eyes to the brows above. And as you can see, it makes the eyes pop a bit more. And that's when I call it a day for part 1 of painting the owlbear. I came back the next day, touching up the eyes, painting the claws, did some more mixing of contrast paints, mixed in some Reichland flesh shade to touch up the transitions between yellow and brown, and then it was almost time to finish up. I decided to reprime the base as I knew it was too bright to look like a rock. So after a quick black to white zenithal, I started working on the base with my new favorite paint, Scale 75 Toad Skin. My god, this paint looks good with a zenithal highlight and a highly detailed miniature. I got this paint and a few other goodies from the Mini Marvels mystery box that was sent to me. I'm especially in love with the Warp Studio gnomes, and you will see a lot more of them on this channel in the future. If you'd like to check what Mini Marvels has to offer, link with discount code is in the description. So without further ado, I think it is time for an epic reveal. This is the very first D&D miniature I ever painted, and of course it's none other than the Owlbear. Overall, I am super happy with the end results, especially because I painted it up in a total of like 5 hours, and that's probably a record for me. Thanks again, Daan, for sending me this model. If you speak Dutch, Daan and his fellow Game Kings do D&D sessions live on Twitch and YouTube. The adventures of Sinister Jim and his sinister solutions have been epic so far, so check them out if you want to. If you liked the video, do let me know. Consider subscribing. I do videos every single Friday, and I do live streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. And the live streams, they're always a lot of fun. There's a great community on both Twitch and YouTube going on, so come and say hi. And I will see you guys later. And now I hope this owl miniature is going to get some action, but probably.